story tonight. Backlash building over President Biden's proclamation of Easter Sunday as Transgender Day of Visibility. The Empire State Building in New York City will be lit tonight in pink, white, and light blue for the transgender flag. And Christians everywhere are outraged. Fox News correspondent Lucas Tomlinson is live at the White House with new reaction. Lucas.
Well, Alicia, Republicans are blasting President Biden over designating his proclamation, designating March 31st the Trans Day of Visibility, which this year happens to coincide with Easter. President Biden marking the solemn occasion on X, posting, quote, "Today on Transgender Day of Visibility, I have a simple message to all trans Americans. I see you. You are made in the image of God, and you're worthy of respect and dignity." Now, Biden posted the following Easter greeting earlier this morning. "Jill and I send our warmest wishes to Christians around the world celebrating the power of hope and the promise of Christ's resurrection this Easter Sunday." Now, the Trump campaign responded earlier to both of these. Sadly, these are just two more examples of the Biden administration's years-long assault on the Christian faith. We call on Joe Biden's failing campaign and White House to issue an apology to the millions of Catholics and Christians across America who believe today is for one celebration only, the resurrection of Jesus Christ.
What's going on, everyone? Sasuke here today, and I believe the Democrats, Joe Biden, have done the stupidest thing they can ever do at Easter, right? And you watching this video on April 1st, happy April Fool's Day. And this is a this has to be the most foolish move I've ever seen a politician done, right? Because if you want to look at this strategically, speak out loudly against this evil. Internet erupts over Biden declaring Easter Trans Day of Visibility. This is the left's new religion. This is something that many people on the right, on the center, has been calling out. Is that essentially you have two religions that's going on in the United States of America. One that is secular and based on elitist thought, Transgender Visibility Day, who, even if you look at it from a political calculation standpoint, if you look at it on a pure democratic notion, there's more Christians in this world than trans-identified people. Even in a political sense, this is not a smart thing to do. And this is why I believe this is a religious thing to do. They want people worshiping the trans flag instead of God. Whatever you may think, if you're an atheist watching this, I don't care about your personal beliefs. I don't care if you believe God don't exist. God does exist. The actual answer is nobody knows. But my idea is I do not worship man. I do not worship authority. I do not worship the state. I worship something higher than something that exists outside of this reality. I feel like that's what allows people to be true to their principles, true to their beliefs, because I believe someone's gonna go back and judge my life, and I want them to be, and I want to be proud about how I portray myself in every interaction that I do, regardless if someone sees me or not. And this is what's going on. This is an attempt of forcing people to worship the state. Oh, the state said this is important. The state has put this out as what we should celebrate over this holiday. That's what we should do. There's been an attack on Christmas lately, I heard, right? And this is not going over well with Christians. And I agree, Christians should be outraged because for too long, I believe Christians have been too tolerant. And Patrick Bet-David expresses this view. And I wonder if you guys see this too. Let me know in the comment section. Do you believe that Christians are too tolerant nowadays? Let's hear from Patrick Bet-David and his thoughts as a Christian about how he feels about this day of reckoning that Joe Biden has decided to spawn upon us. Let's take a look.
This is why, as of last year, I stopped praying for tolerance because of the things that's taken place by Christians. Being way too tolerant with the behavior that's taking place from the White House. Leadership at the top announcing that on Easter Sunday, tomorrow, for many of you that will be going to church to celebrate. You know what you're celebrating? Resurrection. The White House chose to celebrate transgenders. The 0.1% of America, transgenders, who in many cases are going through challenges both mentally and emotionally, but we're wanting to celebrate the 0.1%, not the Christian nation, not the Christian leaders who have done incredible things for this country, and the level of disgrace that this brings to us as a country, to the rest of the world, that our president wrote this and announced this yesterday for Sunday is a spit in the face to many Christians around the nation, and you shouldn't be okay with this. And You ought to stand up for yourself and realize that this is not acceptable. It's time for Christians to stop being so tolerant with this type of behavior. By the way, this isn't a left, right, center thing. This is if you're a Christian and your life, God, comes before your political party, you ought to stand up. If your political party comes before your faith, don't do anything about it. You decide what you value more, how you vote or how you pray. If we get those orders right, the future looks bright. But if we stop fearing God and no longer wanting the favor of God, the future doesn't look as bright as we think it does.
So you seen that, you heard that, and that to me, this is where I believe that, like, end of the day, Christians shouldn't be concerned about the left being mad, because it seemed like the left, that's the only thing the left really rewards, right? They take an inch. You're overzealous. You're too much this. You're too much that. I think, like, just like I tell white people, hey, don't be ashamed for being born the way you have been born. Don't be ashamed of being white. You're not inherently racist because you were born white. Don't let someone put that idea in your head. I'm trying to preach the same message to Christians a little bit. Hey, be proud for what you stand up. Because imagine if you think Joe Biden will do this during Ramadan. Like, imagine it was a day of Ramadan, right? And Joe Biden decided to do this. How would you how you think Muslims will take it? And it seemed like that's the only thing they really respect. And it's sad to say that the left don't have any morality. This is one of my biggest critique against people who claim themselves to be atheists, because I know their morality is subjective. The real thing that atheists fear is consequences, not really morality itself, not really doing something morally wrong. Because I've seen so many times people who don't have this concept of God, this concept of judgment, that they're able to rationalize their own behavior. Oh, I was starving. I had to steal the sandwich. There's no objective morality for people. Human nature has the ability to rationalize all their decisions. Conservatives over the weekend voiced their outrage following news of the President Joe Biden declaring Easter Sunday as Transgender Day of Visibility. Biden's Friday's proclamation said that all Americans should join in lifting up the lives and voices of trans people throughout the nation and work towards eliminating violence and discrimination based on gender identity. I do not believe this is happening. First off, and I forgot the story. It was the Nix Bennett situation. I forgot the trans person's, the self-proclaimed trans person's name. Apparently, it came out it was a suicide. They didn't get died of violence, but this is what they use. It's the same thing with gun control, right? 4% of people die because of mass shootings, but they use that exception to justify, oh, we should do an all-out ban on these guns. These guns are so terrible. Even though that these people are like a small percentage of gun owners. Most gun owners in this country are responsible. Do not commit any crimes. Use them for defensive use. But you want to highlight the criminals, the people who misuse it, and then you try to use that to justify a all-out ban, a general ban. That, like, make it make sense. Biden is banning religious symbols from Easter celebrations at the White House, while flying the trans flag and declaring Easter Sunday to be Trans Visibility Day. Donald Trump Jr. reacted online. And this is the biggest problem that I have. And this is why I say that the left is using Trans Visibility Day as a way of saying, hey, you don't worship God. There's no such thing as God. You worship power. You worship the state. The state is your God. If the state said this is what you should bring attention to, and this is what you shouldn't bring attention to. Removing religious symbols from Easter, saying, hey, we're excluding Christians out of the ceremony. We're excluding their beliefs. Hey, who cares about them? We shouldn't respect them. We shouldn't care about how they feel. But they should be tolerant about how we feel. And this is the problem I always have. And this is one of my biggest talking points that I always say, is that tolerance isn't submission. If you're a trans person, you come up to me and you say, hey, I believe I'm a woman. I say, no, you're a man. I believe you're a man. And here's why. You may believe you're a woman, but I should be allowed to express myself and say, hey, you're not a man. You're not a woman. You're a man because of this. And you can never escape this. Me and you got the same level of testosterone. Me and you can square up right now, and you got a decent chance of winning. You can't escape that reality. And just because you believe that to be so, hey, all that matters is, look, this is my biggest problem with trans people. All that should matter is as long as what you think of yourself. It doesn't matter what, you shouldn't be looking for validation from outside events. Like, you shouldn't be looking for outside validation to justify your acceptance, your existence. And this is my problem with these things. is that essentially the state is putting a pecking order and it's casting out into society. And this is why I'm saying the government creates incentives. Notably, the White House has banned religious themed Easter eggs designs for an annual art contest. Right? What the state's telling you, hey, we don't respect that. We don't respect this. This doesn't have any power in our society. This is why everyone's fighting to be the biggest victim in our society, because that's what the state rewards. Oh, look, we want to push minorities because that's what the state rewards. Look at Joe Biden. Joe Biden damn near picked his entire administration based on identity politics, based on left-wing values. And if you espouse these left-wing values, you will get propped up. If you don't espouse left-wing values, you get propped down, canceled, excluded. This is the messaging that I'm taking from the state. As libertarians will say, name me one thing the state has done right. Go. You won't be able to. This is why I'm saying you're trying to create a negative incentive, Biden. Biden administration stands by Transgender Day of Visibility on Easter amid backlash. I don't understand. Like, you can't rationalize this. Like, there's no political calculus going here. It's just merely saying, hey, this is. And the funny part is, Thomas Jefferson said there must be a separation of church and state. And this is something liberals always push in the political discussion. But isn't this not a religion in of itself? Hey, we want to push this. And this is why one thing I've been saying. Many people are treating their politics like a religion. And this is why I agree with what Patrick Bet-David put out. A lot of people are putting politics over their own beliefs. This is why you got churches accepting gay men and marrying them, even though it goes against their doctrine. Because they're putting politics over their belief systems. And this has been a fracturing of our social fabric. And this is why I believe that we're so partisan, we're so divided for so long. I saw it on Christian Flaves. Trump's campaign bans Biden declaring Easter Sunday Transgender Day of Visibility. Right? First, you got Daily Wire with their debacle trying to synonymize or correlate saying Christ is King as being anti-Semitic. Right. And this is something I've been saying for a long time, that people feel comfortable mocking Christians, telling Christians how they should express themselves, because essentially that's what you're doing. Daily Wire, when you tell people, when you tell Christians they can't say Christ is King, you're literally telling them, hey, you can't express yourself that way because we perceive it as negative. This is what I'm saying. It's not the Christians' fault. It's the people's reaction to it. You're being too sensitive. If a racist Nazi says 2 + 2 is 4, and they look, Ben, 2 + 2 is 4. It's not my fault. You're put excuse here, put anti-Semitic comment here. Then should Ben Shapiro be allowed to broadcast and say, if you say 2 + 2 is 4, that's an anti-Semitic trope, especially if you're directing it at a Jewish person? Is it the person saying it, or is your interpretation of that thing? Right? Like, the words are just is. The world is just is. You put it whether it's good or bad. You create that. That's a subjective view. And then it's up to you to rationalize that and justify that. But there's no way in hell anyone in their right mind can justify Christ as King is equal to anti-Semitism, because anti-Semitic people uses it. Anti-Semitic people said 2 + 2 is 4. So we shouldn't be saying it now? We shouldn't proclaim that now? It sounds stupid when I put it in math terms, but it's essentially that's what it is. And I don't understand why everyone's so comfortable going at Christians, trying to monitor Christians, telling Christians how they should express themselves, telling Christians how they should follow their Bible. Oh, you shouldn't follow that part of the Bible. You should follow this part of the Bible. Actually, you could twist some words. You can reinterpret those words to mean something else. The Bible said there should be no female pastors. We believe in feminism, equal equality there. We'll make some adjustments there. And this is why I always struggle identifying myself as a Christian. That's why I rather identify myself as a Stoic, because I like consistency. I like people who walk the walk. How you talk is how you walk. I like people like that. If you say you believe in diversity, I expect you to believe in diversity in all situations. If you see the NBA is 78% black, I should be hearing you screaming, there needs me to be more white and Asian men in the NBA. We need more representation in the NBA. But if you're not doing that, I can automatically assume, oh, you're using this affront of virtue. You're weaponizing to get a certain outcome, a certain ends, because you know it benefits you. And this is what's going on with Trans Visibility Day. Even though Many studies are coming out that Trans Visibility Day, transgenderism in of itself is a mental disorder. It's highly associated with mental disorders, narcissism, right? Autism. A lot of mental disorders there's a high correlation with transgenderism and mental disorders. Gender dysphoria, mental disorder. But you want to celebrate it? The state? See, this is why they say this: the government don't do anything good. If the government's pushing something onto you, it's not for your own good. I'm just saying that. Top psychologists blame smartphones and social media for the decay of Gen Z and the rise of transgenderism. Because there's been a lot of suggestions, a lot of data to suggest that transgenderism is a social contagion. People are only associating with it because there's an incentive structure. There's a messaging being promoted to it, right? It's basic human psychology. Anything you promote, you get more of. Social media. Transgenderism, what gets you views? Look at Dylan Mulvaney. He was trying all kinds of content. He was trying to be a comedian. He tried to be do pet videos. And then once he saw the 1 day of girlhood, days of girlhood, and he saw how it made him famous, popular, what you did, you created an incentive. So if someone's saying, hey, I want to be rich, I want to be famous, I want to be well known. Oh, I'm a man. Let me dress up like a woman. Let me pretend to be a stereotype of a woman. Boom. I get millions of views. You create an incentive structure. You create people wanting to emulate that, copy that. This is my problem. This is why a lot of people, like, especially me as a conservative, that's why I have a problem with rap music, preaching about gang banging, selling drugs, girls overly sexualizing themselves, trying to pretend or emulate strippers. That's why we have a problem with that. Because if you put that as, oh, this is how you get famous, this is how you become well known, this is how you become popular, you create an incentive structure where the youth becomes influenced by that and tries to emulate that. As usual, you got people running cover for this, right? And I'm gonna just give you this as an example, and then I'll end off the video. Let's see. Transgender Day of Visibility honors the bravery and resilience of the trans communities. Let's stand in solidarity and work to create a world where everyone feels safe and accepted, and continue our fight for the rights of all individuals. Trans Day of Visibility. Now, Trans Day of Visibility, this is like, hey, we should worship a mental disorder. Right? If someone's a narcissist, we should have a Narcissist Visibility Day. Because narcissism, there's a high correlation with narcissism and transgenderism. You can make the argument that transgenderism is a branch of narcissism. Transgender, there's no trans history. Like, what are you talking about? This stuff happened like 5 minutes ago. What history? This is something y'all just made up and conjured in your hand. And then you start trying to make like gay figures into transgender people. Like, make it make sense. At one hand, you say, hey, no one can pick their sexuality. Gayness is inherent. And in the other hand, oh no, you can switch up your identity at a drop of a hat. You're a gay man. Next, you know, hey, I'm a trans woman now. Now I'm straight. Like, make it make sense. Look at the convolutiveness of this ideology. But many of the people who preach this stuff are atheists, materialists, the biggest atheists in the world. But they're going along with this crap. How you believe you? So you're saying that if I believe in God, I believe in fairy tales, that I am delusional. But you, in something you can prove, something falsifiable, you say it's true. A man can become a woman. What's your evidence to support that? Just like when I ask an atheist, what's your evidence to support that God doesn't exist? I can't do it. Okay, so just because you can't verify it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So you're really saying is you don't know. Or as an atheist, what you're really saying is you believe God doesn't exist. So the only difference between you and a Christian is a Christian is more honest about their position. A Christian says, I have some evidence that suggests that there's something that's managing the world, like physics, right? Intelligent design. These things are clues for me to suggest, and that's what enforces my beliefs that God exists. But the atheists don't provide anything to the table. All they got is criticism. An atheist believes in aliens, even though there's no proof that aliens exist. But they're more likely to believe an alien exists than God. Make it make sense. And this is the kind of debates that we're getting into our culture. And I think this is a political miscalculations on the rights of the Democrats, because look at their outrage that they're getting. Alex, you're not dumb. Just look through the comments. No sane person supports your tweet. So you're either trying to piss off conservatives on Easter, trying to incite the next George Floyd type incident violence, or something darker. Which is it? right? And some people are saying that this is a way to try to trigger or poke fun in a passive aggressive way to get conservatives outraged. But you don't want to do that. You don't want to inflame. You don't want to get people. Look. Joe Biden has low enthusiasm. No one's enthusiastically ready to vote for Joe Biden. You don't want to create a Donald Trump effect on Joe Biden, because many of the criticism that a lot of conservatives give Trump is that, oh, he's gonna motivate people to vote against him. You don't want to motivate Christians to vote against Joe Biden, because I think there's like religion goes across political lines. You don't want to do this, right? And I think Christians, y'all gotta shrug sometimes. And I think this is an opportunity for Christians to shrug. But that's just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section. What you guys are thinking. Do you agree with me? Do you agree with me and Patrick Bet-David that Christians are too tolerant and it's time for them to force a consequence on people who mock their religion? I want to hear your thoughts about it in the comment section below. I'll be really interested to hear what you guys got to say about this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I really do appreciate you guys watching to the end of the video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.